Do you remember a time when Glasgow went the full Monty? Do you remember when Blytheswood Square was the total pits? Buckle in for the checkered story on this episode of Astonishing Glasgow. The story of Glasgow's links to the most prestigious car rally in the world starts in 1924. The first Monte Carlo rally took place in 1911 and was the brainchild of Prince Albert I of Monaco to demonstrate the innovations in car design and to promote Monaco as a tourist resort. The idea was to have multiple start points across Europe with one finish line in Monaco, after completing the route and taking part in time trials and special stages along the way. That first year there were 23 cars which left from 11 start lines. Glasgow's links to Monte Carlo began in 1924, when the city was chosen to join the list of starting locations. In that first year, there was one entrant, a Belgian, named Jacques Ledure. Extra points were gained if you started further away from Monaco, which is why Jacques chose to start in Glasgow. In that year, he was the rally winner. Glasgow would continue to be a host city from that point on, and there were two more winners from the Glasgow start line, in 1952 and 1956, and they all started from outside the Royal Scottish Automobile Club on Blytheswood Square. The party wouldn't last forever, both for the Monte Carlo start line in the city and for the Royal Scottish Automobile Club. By the 60s and 70s, the rallying was as popular as Formula 1, and most cars and drivers were backed by factory teams rather than Terry Thomas types in flying hats. Speeds were increasing towards the mayhem of the Group B rally era in the 1980s. There were fewer start locations around Europe, and the rally moved more towards high-speed, closed-road special stages, and Blytheswood Square would no longer be a host to the Monte Carlo rally. The square fell silent at night. Nothing happened in Blytheswood Square at night. Nothing at all. Apparently. Sadly, by the year 2000, a declining membership and the cost of occupying such a grand building led to the closure of the Royal Scottish Automobile Club on Blytheswood Square. The building was converted into a 5-star hotel, though, given its motoring links, a 4-star hotel would have been more fitting. You'll only get that if you're a certain age. And if you remember in episode 41 of Astonishing Glasgow, I was lucky enough to be gifted some treasure from the old club. This sign was heading for a skip before it was rescued by somebody who was involved in the hotel's conversion. The hotel finally opened for business in January 2009 and is a favourite of celebrities from Billy Connolly to Ariana Grande. That could have been the end of the Monte Carlo story in the city, but that would have been a very short episode of Astonishing Glasgow. In January 2011, to celebrate 100 years of the Monte Carlo rally, Glasgow joined Marrakesh, Barcelona, Reims and Warsaw as the start line of the Monte Carlo Classic Rally, an event open to cars which would have raced between 1949 and 1973. This was less of a race, it was more of an endurance event, covering around 2,000 miles in 2 days. And when I found out it was happening, I jumped on a train with my camera and a pocket full of AA batteries to go and have a watch. I did not expect it to be as popular as it was, and I really don't think the council expected it to be as popular either. The pits around the square were full of spectators and drivers doing some last minute preparation to get ready for the green flag. Starting right outside the old Royal Scottish Automobile Clubhouse, just as cars had done in 1924, the anticipation was high. Before finally the flag dropped and they were off. I took lots of pictures from that night, a lot less video because my memory cards were pretty small back then, and these really make it look like we were in great danger with the cars screaming through the crowd. The reality was a lot safer than you think, even without the safety barriers. As the cars set off down Bath Street, I was hooked, although I don't know that the council were particularly happy. By the time the 2012 event came round, the start line was on the move. Glasgow City Council were apparently never very supportive of a car-based event. Doesn't really fit in with their green credentials, though having seen how many cars are needed to circle the city for a bike race, it is strange that they take issue with 40 old cars going the opposite direction. Have I made my point? I hope so. Either way, the city had withdrawn support for the event, so for 2012 the start line moved to Clydebank College on the site of the old John Brown's shipyard. Now don't get me wrong, the organiser did do a fantastic job, and you can see by the amount of cars that it was growing in popularity. It would just have been nice to have the cars running down the city centre streets instead of being out at Clydebank College. It would only start from Clydebank College for that 1 year, before in a shock change of mind, it moved back to Glasgow for 2013. The council must have warmed to the idea, and the Monte Carlo returned to Glasgow, though this time the start was held in daylight at Glasgow Green, and I think the health and safety officer was being a big chicken, as there were barriers everywhere, nothing like the excitement of 2011. The love, however, didn't last for long, and for 2014, the Monte wasn't welcome in Glasgow yet again. Paisley stepped in, realising the potential publicity from hosting such a prestigious event, and how it could help their ongoing bid for city status. Between 2014 and 2018, Paisley did a great job of making the Monte start an incredible event. They got their organisation spot on, with their facilities, their publicity, their family entertainers, and a great location in the grounds right beneath the historic Paisley Abbey. Paisley Abbey is well worth a visit and has a lot more connections to Glasgow than you might think, so put that on your visit list for summer. It was still freezing cold, given that the start took place in January, and I don't remember rain ever being an issue on the Paisley start lines, but I do remember losing feeling in my trigger finger a couple of times and struggling to hold the camera steady in the shivers. Sadly, Paisley was unsuccessful in its quest for city status. And after 2018, Paisley had also decided that the rally wasn't bringing enough money to the town. So the rally jumped back over the Clyde for the 2019 start, and it was once again held on the campus of Clydebank College. You can see that thanks to the hard work of the enthusiasts of the Monte Start Committee Scotland, the event was still growing, with heritage runs leaving at the same time as the Monte Carlo competitors. But just like last time, Clydebank would only host it for 1 year. For 2020, the event would once again return to Glasgow, and this time to the very centre of the city. In January 2020, the caravan of cars were not only welcomed back to Glasgow, but to the very heart of the city on George Square. The start ramp was set up on the doorstep of the City Council, right outside the city chambers, right in front of the councillors who weren't very keen on it, but it was a huge success. The cars were on display in the square during the day for last minute tinkering in the winter sun. It all worked really well for pictures even if it was raining. As it started to get dark, I dived into Greg's for a sausage roll and a heat before it was time for the flag drop. Entertainment was laid on before the cars set off for Monte Carlo. 1,000 million points to these girls for still smiling even though they must have been absolutely freezing. It definitely felt that the spirit of Monte Carlo had returned to Glasgow for 2020. There was everything you needed. The ability to get close to the cars, entertainment laid on, a great venue and plenty of space for watching the action. As the cars began to get ready for the off, they moved the crowds behind the barriers. You will find a full video of the 2020 event on my channel if you're interested. I'll add a link to it at the end of this video and also in the description below. But watch this one till the end before you go and watch another. One by one, the drivers approached the start line at the top of the ramp, ready to head off to Monte Carlo if they were doing the Monte Carlo Classic, or on one of the heritage runs out towards Luss and Loch Lomond. Everything went really well. Nothing could stop the nothing could be seen to stop the rally returning in 2021. Yeah. The less said about the events of the rest of 2020, the better. Needless to say, there was no 2021 Monte Carlo rally. It didn't return again to the city until 2024, when they had a special centenary event back in Blytheswood Square. Now unfortunately, this time the event could only go ahead by them using the private ground inside the gardens of Blytheswood Square. There was no support from the council, and the council wanted to charge every competitor for the use of the parking spaces around the square. So it really doesn't look like the Monte Carlo will return to Glasgow anytime soon. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit that like and subscribe button. These two actions will really help my channel grow, won't cost you anything, it'll take you 2 seconds. If you'd like to buy some merch, have a look in the description below for a link to my Spreadshirt page. And if you'd like to help me make more of these episodes, you can send me something via Super Thanks. Every penny is gratefully received and will go back into making more videos. These are the superstars who left a donation after the last video. If you want to get in touch, leave a comment below or head over to my Facebook and Instagram pages. I regularly update with lots of photos and lots of articles about Glasgow, so if you like Glasgow, have a look on my Facebook pages. Links are below. Thank you very much again for watching. I'll see you next time in Astonishing Glasgow. Remember to check out all the other videos on Astonishing Glasgow, and a shout out to Benny Morgan. I hope your boy brought round the Empire biscuits. That's what I'm going to go and have now. So I'll see everybody later. Bye now.